Welcome to my channel. Today, we're diving into an unbelievable story that will keep you hooked. Stay tuned for all the details! EgyptAir Flight 990 was a scheduled flight from Los Angeles International Airport to Cairo, Egypt, with a layover at John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York. On October 31, 1999, the Boeing 767-300ER plunged into the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Nantucket, Massachusetts, killing all 217 people on board. The crash remains one of the most controversial and debated aviation disasters in history, with conflicting conclusions from Egyptian and American investigators regarding the cause of the tragedy. The flight took off from JFK at 1:20 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with 203 passengers and 14 crew members. About 30 minutes into the flight, as the aircraft was cruising at 33,000 feet, it suddenly entered a steep and rapid descent. Within seconds, the plane was plummeting toward the ocean at an extreme rate. Radar data showed the aircraft descending at over 40,000 feet per minute, before briefly climbing back up, only to descend again at an even steeper angle. Within less than 3 minutes, the aircraft disappeared from the radar, crashing into the Atlantic Ocean about 60 miles south of Nantucket. The immediate response involved extensive search and recovery operations. The U.S. Coast Guard and Navy worked alongside Egyptian authorities to locate the wreckage and recover victims. Debris was found scattered across the ocean, with smaller fragments floating on the surface, while larger sections, including the engines and cockpit voice recorder, were retrieved from the ocean floor. The impact had been catastrophic, leaving no survivors. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, took the lead in the investigation, with the Egyptian Civil Aviation Authority, ECAA, participating. The initial focus was on mechanical failure, but as investigators analyzed the flight data and cockpit voice recordings, a different picture emerged. The recordings captured a period of normal conversation in the cockpit before the co-pilot, Gamil al-Batouti, was left alone at the controls. Moments later, he was heard uttering a phrase in Arabic, Tawakkalt ala Allah, which translates to, "I rely on God," before disengaging the autopilot. Almost immediately, the aircraft began a sharp descent. The flight data recorder showed that the control inputs did not match what would be expected in an emergency. The throttles were reduced to idle, and the elevators were pushed forward, causing the nose to drop rapidly. Moments later, the captain, Ahmed El-Habashi, re-entered the cockpit, repeatedly asking, "What's happening? What's happening?" as he struggled to regain control. Despite his efforts, the plane continued its fatal dive. The investigation took a controversial turn when the NTSB concluded that the actions of the co-pilot were deliberate. The report suggested that al-Batouti had intentionally crashed the plane, though no definitive motive was determined. The phrase, "I rely on God," was repeated multiple times, leading investigators to theorize that he may have been acting with intent. This conclusion was met with strong opposition from Egyptian authorities, who rejected the idea that the crash was a result of deliberate actions. Egyptian officials insisted that mechanical failure, particularly an issue with the plane's elevator system, caused the crash. They argued that a technical malfunction could have caused the aircraft to enter an uncontrollable dive, and criticized the NTSB's findings as speculative. The Egyptian government conducted its own investigation, ultimately concluding that the crash was due to mechanical failure rather than pilot intent. The conflicting reports led to widespread debate and speculation. Some aviation experts questioned whether the evidence was sufficient to conclude that the crash was intentional. Others pointed to the unusual flight path and control inputs as indications that something highly irregular had occurred in the cockpit. The absence of a clear motive further complicated the case. Unlike other cases of pilot suicide, such as Germanwings Flight 9525 or EgyptAir Flight 185, where motives were more apparent, no clear reason was established for why al-Batouti would have taken such actions. Theories about the crash ranged from psychological distress to sabotage or external interference. Some speculated that the co-pilot faced personal or professional issues, but no evidence confirmed this. Some speculated that mechanical failure initiated the descent, leading to pilot confusion and loss of control. However, the NTSB maintained that the crash resulted from intentional human action. The investigation into EgyptAir Flight 990 created tensions between the U.S. and Egypt, with conflicting reports blaming either the co-pilot or mechanical failure. Despite extensive inquiries, the crash's true cause remains disputed. The case highlights challenges in determining intent, the complexities of international investigations, and the importance of pilot mental health and cockpit procedures. Years later, speculation persists, with some accepting official findings and others believing key details remain unknown. The tragedy of 217 lost lives serves as a stark reminder of aviation's unpredictability. Thanks for watching.